The moons of Vecro 7 cast pale silver light across the churning rapids, turning the water into liquid mercury. Clara Wynne crouched at the edge of the ravine, checking her scanner for mineral deposits. The survey work was mundane, but it paid well enough for a solo contractor, trying to make her way through the outer colonies. A sound pierced through the roar of water. High-pitched, desperate, unmistakably the cry of something young and terrified. Clara's head snapped up. There, caught in the current 30 meters downstream, a small creature struggled against the relentless pull of the river. Even from this distance, she could see it was losing the fight. Its dark fur was matted against its body, and its movements were growing weaker with each passing second. She didn't think. She just moved. Clara sprinted along the rocky bank, her boots skidding on loose stones. The creature disappeared beneath the surface once, twice. Her heart hammered in her chest as she calculated angles and distances. There, a fallen tree extended partially across the water, its gnarled roots still clinging to the bank. Without hesitation, Clara scrambled onto the trunk. The bark was slick with moss and spray from the rapids. She inched forward, feeling the wood groan beneath her weight. The creature surfaced again, its golden eyes wide with panic, tiny paws flailing uselessly. Come on, Clara muttered, extending her arm as far as she dared. The creature swept closer, carried by the merciless current. At the last possible moment, Clara lunged forward, her fingers closing around wet fur. The sudden weight nearly pulled her in. Clara's other hand shot out, gripping a branch with white-knuckled desperation. For a terrifying moment, she teetered on the edge, the roar of water filling her ears. Then, with a grunt of effort, she hauled both herself and the creature back toward the bank. She collapsed onto solid ground, gasping. The small animal clutched against her chest. It was trembling violently, making soft whimpering sounds. Now that she could see it clearly, Clara realized it resembled a wolf pup, but not quite. Its fur was midnight blue with patterns of bioluminescent silver that pulsed faintly. 6 legs instead of 4, ears that swept back like wings. It's okay, Clara whispered, stroking its head gently. You're safe now. A low growl froze her blood. Clara looked up slowly. On the opposite bank stood a massive creature, easily 3 meters tall at the shoulder, with the same midnight blue fur and glowing silver markings as the pup. But this was no helpless infant. This was a predator, and its eyes blazed with an intelligence that was distinctly not animal. More shapes emerged from the tree line behind it. 5, 10, 15 of them, a pack, and they were all staring at Clara with those unnervingly intelligent golden eyes. The largest one, clearly the alpha, stepped to the very edge of the water. Clara's hand instinctively moved to the plasma pistol at her hip, but she knew it would be useless against so many. The alpha's lips curled back, revealing teeth like daggers. Then it did something that made Clara's breath catch. It bowed its head. The gesture was unmistakable, deliberate. One by one, the other pack members followed suit, lowering their massive heads in what could only be described as reverence or respect. The pup in Clara's arms wriggled free and stumbled on shaky legs toward the water's edge. It let out a series of high-pitched yips. The alpha responded with a deep, resonant sound that seemed to vibrate through Clara's very bones. What happened next defied everything Clara thought she knew about alien wildlife. The alpha closed its eyes and the silver markings on its body blazed with brilliant light. The air shimmered and suddenly the raging river began to calm. The water level dropped, the current slowed, until a path of exposed rocks created a bridge between the two banks. The alpha crossed first, moving with fluid grace despite its enormous size. It approached Clara slowly and she forced herself to remain still, her heart threatening to beat out of her chest. The creature stopped just in front of her, so close she could feel the heat radiating from its body. Then impossibly it spoke. The words weren't in any language Clara recognized, but somehow she understood them, felt them in her mind like a warm pulse of meaning and emotion. You saved our young. You risked your life for one not of your kind. This debt cannot be repaid with simple gratitude. Clara stared in shock. I just did what anyone would do. The alpha's eyes gleamed with what might have been amusement. No, not anyone. We have watched your kind since you arrived on our world. We have seen fear, greed, indifference. But you saw only a life in danger. The alpha turned and made a gesture with its head. The rest of the pack approached, forming a circle around Clara. She should have been terrified, but instead she felt a strange sense of safety, of belonging. I am Ravon, the alpha communicated, and you, Clara Wynne, have been chosen. Chosen for what? Ravon's silver markings pulsed in a rhythmic pattern, and Clara felt a warmth spread through her chest. When she looked down, She saw that her own skin was beginning to glow with the same silver light. To be pack, to be family. To be the bridge between your kind and ours. Raven's mental voice carried notes of hope and determination. For too long, humans have seen us as beasts to be studied or threats to be eliminated, but you saw us as we are, beings worthy of compassion. With you as our voice, perhaps others will see it too. The pup, now mostly dry, bounded back to Clara and pressed against her leg. She reached down automatically to scratch behind its wing-like ears. I don't know if I can do what you're asking, Clara said quietly. You already have, Raven replied. The moment you chose to act, you changed everything. Clara looked around at the circle of alien wolves, their silver markings pulsing in unison like a shared heartbeat. She thought about the isolation she'd felt, drifting from colony to colony with no real connections. She thought about the pup's terrified eyes and the alpha's bow of respect. She thought about what it meant to be seen, truly seen for a single moment of compassion. Okay, Clara said, feeling the words settle into her bones with a rightness she hadn't expected. I'll try. Ravan's rumbling purr of approval resonated through the night air. The pack voices joined in, creating a symphony of sound that seemed to make the very stars shimmer brighter. Clara Wynne had come to Vecros 7 looking for minerals. Instead, she'd found something infinitely more valuable. A family that chose her not despite being human, but because of it. And in the cosmic ledger of humanity's achievements, that would prove to be worth more than all the precious metals in the galaxy.